ebu adu kone. Yau, ya gena parke chijigeni yepta, lege parke namos, kagong lepa liyala dige, medina mutaliku. Nonu, la Mariama mage chiengom, ke farlu chi dundan, topa ci tanka udomam Jesu, pe cha su ukruaba, cha tundu kalbe. Popa, la hol undeam jebalo ak udomam, ke nangu sacrifice di koyala tegan. Mom, rahulan benapat, cha watu boba. Wanto, lamo yeganchi Holland, wesuna tontu imu aduan, ako malaki Jibril enyu. Nyun, gong nanyu ne Mariama te, hodon sunyu ende, kanao tamu yekateko yaram akit cha alden. Nona la contine di new saitu e di nuolu chikanu yala. Nyon mineka yaramo pistabi, di jangu buselebi file chi aduna, di pes a chono a musipa yukare ninyo paketa. Mariama selukai u pakrkati. Dalalkat u holgi am nahar. Yau togu sagosi. Sunyu bane hulol. Lel. Nyanan hu. Yau mi dondeja. De ujanguti. Dak teral Mariama. Ke diko nyan. Diko jen aroi. Warna yu. Mom mi boka a tomam, ci ligeiam di musal aduna a tefa dominit. Niki yai nubare Mariama tefa don ein por puset, i bale keran, i den marse, I togal in jobotan, I bot a def ligei ukerti. Lille yepa pokana ci topato joboti koyala tenkan. Jombolitam ne nyakolan ai tehe ai nya kadego I dir jobotu sela dogu niki jamano ba Jesu reron Jango Paiva. E Mariama linger ujamaju samanyu ke ar sunyu jopoti a jangubi a sunyu reu. Amen. The angel Gabriel was sent by God to a town in Galilee called Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man named Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. A very, very solemn introduction to a story called the Annunciation. It was a very decisive event in our human history. Luke links it with the reign of Herod Antipas, who was Tetrarch of Galilee at that time. St. Paul called it later the fullness of time. That is, the time when God reckoned it was appropriate to fulfill a promise that reaches all the way back to the fall of our first parents in the Garden of Eden. No sooner had Adam and Eve sinned than God promised a Savior. I will make you enemies of each other, he said to the serpent, you and the woman, your offspring and her offspring. It will crush your head. Biblical scholars tell us that Mary was that woman who was prophetically referred to as a key player in that victory over the serpent, whose offspring would be crushed by her offspring, Jesus. In other words, from the very beginning of creation, God had set his eyes on this young girl from Nazareth to be the mother of his son. How many thousands of years went by between that day in the Garden of Eden and the actual fulfillment of the promise, as we find it in the story of the Annunciation. St. Paul refers to this as the great mystery hidden for generations. In the meantime, the prophet Isaiah also spoke about a virgin who would conceive and bear a son, and we call his name Emmanuel. All of this was fulfilled, and the Son of God took a human nature from the Virgin Mary. This is why we honor and venerate Mary as truly Mother of God and Mother of the Redeemer. Because of this singular gift, she far surpasses all other creatures in heaven and on earth. At the same time, Mary also belongs to the offspring of Adam. She is also one with all of us in our need for salvation. But we believe that she was redeemed by God in anticipation of the death and resurrection of her Son. Therefore she was kept sinless from the first moment of her life, the mystery of the Immaculate Conception, which we celebrate today. This year we celebrate our annual pilgrimage to Contrejan in the context of a special year of faith launched by our Holy Father, Pope Benedict, on the 11th of October this year. The date was deliberately chosen to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the opening of the Second Vatican Council on the same date in the year 1962. This date was also chosen to link in with the Synod of Bishops that took place in Rome in October. The Second Vatican Council had a huge impact on the life and mission of our Catholic Church over the last 50 years, for better and or for worse. When the prophet Simeon took the child Jesus in his arms in the temple, he turned to Mary and said, "This child will be a sign of contradiction, destined to be for the fall as well as the rising of many in Israel." Something similar has occurred in our church over the last 50 years. How often Mary must have recalled those words of Simeon as she followed her son from that day in the temple until she stood at the foot of the cross, wondering if what she saw was actually a real